panagdait sa Dios ug sa tanang kabuhatan, and welcome to our virtual class. Now, this time we will be having another topic, and this will be our first lesson for our midterm coverage. And this is entitled Philippine Traditions on Dance. Now, we are done discussing last week about the FITT principle, the frequency, intensity, time, and type, and it's all about exercise. And we had discussed dance as an example of an exercise. Now, this time, we will be focusing on dance. Okay? Okay, mamang ginito ang pinaka-topic aning PE13, dancing. Okay. Philippine traditions on dance. Dance has been part of Filipino life since time immemorial. When we say immemorial, a long time ago. Okay? Sinauna. Since the ancient times, early Filipinos have used rhythmic movements to express their emotions, beliefs, and faith. Most of these movements are imitations of what they see in their environment, such as swaying of the trees and the movements of animals. So, ang kanatong mga hand gestures karon, kaning mga body rhythm na to, they were an imitations before, no? Before, they were an imitations of the environment, of what we see in the environment, such as swaying of trees. So, gi-imitate na to na siya, gihimo na to siyang body movement. And then, movements of the animals, portray na to na siya. And then, as time passed by, kaning nga mga rhythmic movements na develop siya into a dance. And thus, this becomes part of the people's traditions. Okay? And speaking of tradition, tradition is a way of thinking, behaving, or doing something that has been used by the people in a particular group for a long time. How we behave, how we act, our celebrations, no? Our practices, human practices, mo na siya gitawag og tradition in a particular group. Let's say, for example, mga native group, no? Lahi-lahi man tag mga traditions. In dancing, traditional dances are commonly known as folk dances or dance practices that have been passed on or handed down from one generation to another. So, kaning mga traditional dances, folk dances, ginapasa-pasa na siya from one generation to another. And by that time, na nagid na mahitabo nga improvement sa dance or mga additions, no? And then, these dances have evolved naturally over time. So, kanang mga influence other countries, no? So, na pass on from one generation to another, tapos in between na siya mga influences from other countries, from other groups. So, naa siya'y kabaguhan, naa siya'y development. And also, many of these dances were performed as rituals to express gratitude or to make sacrifices. No, kay before ang dance is more on ritual purposes manggod. And there are also some dance performed to celebrate life occasions or war victories because before pirmi maning war, no? And then this today, ang kaning mga dances gina-perform gihapon ni sa mga dancers to relive the traditions of early Filipinos or to remember the the life of the Philippines. So morning wala gyapon ni siya nawala hangtod karon kaning mga traditional folk dances. No, kay always gina-relieve ni sa mga performers karon. Or even sa schools, di ba, na manggihapon tayo mga folk dances. Now, katunga time, it was during the, pre-colonial dances. It was during the colonization of the Spanish, the Americans, Spaniards, Americans, and Japanese. No? First, we have religious dances, which often involve communicating with the gods, include dance rituals of death, afterlife recovery from illness, and veneration of gods through the babaylan or katalonan, a female spiritual leader who was regarded as an expert in communicating with the divine. In such dances, dancers normally make offerings to the spirits. So, mo ni siya mga religious dances. Example for religious dances is subli. No? Subli is a religious dance honoring the mahal na poong Santa Cruz. Okay, so this is just one of the many examples of religious dances. Kaning subli. Next. Under gyapon siya sa pre-colonial dances, we have occupational dances, which are dance rituals that mimic work-related activities such as hunting, planting, and harvesting. Occupational dances are often lengthy since they mimic the actions performed before, during, and after a specific activity. Kanang sununi mo ang occupation sa mga Filipinos before, like kanang magtanom, i-perform siya into dancing, or kanang mang-harvest na sa mais or sa humay, tumuan siya og performance, no? Muna siya occupational dances. And another example for occupational dance is pasigin. Pasigin, it's all about a fisherman trying to catch ibangus, shrimps, and sugpo with the use of sibot, okay, or net. Muna siya occupational dance. Okay, mimicry is actually common in many traditional dances. For instance, dancers imitate movements that they observe in nature. Examples, tinikling. Tinikling, sikat mong kiningasayaw, this mimics the movements of a tickling or a kind of bird. Okay, so una yatong movement sa bird, nga tickling. Himuan siya og sayaw, nahimo siyang tinikling. We also have itik-itik, which imitates the movements of the itik or duck. Mao na siya yung mga mimicry. Now, imitations of the movements of the animals. Okay, nato diri sa colonization influence dances. So, if makonect nimo siya sa art nga subject, no, kaning dance na to, since in our humanities subject na appeal po dato ang dance as an example of art expressions. So appeal po ni siya sa naapektuhan sa mga influence sa other countries, no, or other groups. Okay, during the Spanish occupation, the lives of the early Filipinos were restructured in terms of politics, economics, and of course, religion and culture. So, na-restructured ang atong politics, daghan kay na-structured during the Spanish colonization. The same thing happened in dance, no? Parihara sa nahitabo sa dance. The Spanish colonizers brought in their own dances, tapos na dayoy integration nga nahitabo. Kumbaga, gi-introduce nila ilahang art, ilahang dance. And then, syempre, kita nga mga Pinoy na practice na po na to ang ilahang influence. And the most popular among these Spanish dances are the jota, polka, waltz, and pandango. Okay, namatay jota Quirino. Ang jota Quirino, sikat nga folk dance. We also have pandango sa ilaw, no? Muna siya mga famous Spanish dances nga na-influence sa atua. Okay, another, we have batik, a waltz dance performed during Easter. Pastores performed during Christmas time. Sayaw sa Obando, a festive dance, and zarzuela. The Spanish-era dances were popularized by the Spanish music theater. So aside from occupational dance, religious dance, mimicry, or mga dance nga na influence sa Spanish, there are also indigenous dances that celebrates life events such as courtship and marriage. Naapod tayo sayaw nga nag-portray of courtship or marriage. Okay, so there are also dances so focused on romance and the exchange of present or dowries. Okay, so those are the examples of the different traditional dances in the Philippines before the colonization and during the colonization. So that's it for today. This is just a very short discussion, and for your activity, I will post it on our Genio. And we will continue our discussion for our lesson 2 next week. And that would be all. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you.